By a show of hands right now, who thinks the business is hard? Anybody? All right. So, as a show of hands, thank you for that. Appreciate that. As a show of hands, how many of you think that have said that more than once in the past 90 days, that this business is super hard right now? Now, I would imagine it's all of you. Thank you, Cameron. I'm hearing this over and over and over again. And so it's not just you. So I think the market is a little weird because what you've got is inventory is rising, but it's still a little tight. And a lot of the things that are on the market are junk, right? They're not great properties. The good properties seem to sell very quickly, but the overall inventory is not what I would call a good quality inventory. So that is creating a lot of issues as well. Then you've got this coupled with the fact that the buyers are picky. I don't know if you saw the article, but NAR said that December of 2025, there were more deals that fell out in the month of December than in the history of NAR. More deals fell out because buyers walked away. So buyers are super picky. And then you've got sellers that think that it's still 2021. And then let's not even get into the interest rates. Who knows what the interest rates are going to do? Right now they're coming down, but for the past, 3 years, they've been high, and that's caused some issues in the market as well. So with all of that going on, it's very easy for us to get into a mode to think that this business is tough or that this business is hard. But I want you to think about something. If you look into in your own market, in every market in North America today, there are agents that are doing well and there's agents that aren't doing well. Same market, but some are succeeding and others are not. So what's the difference? See, the market is not deciding who's winning. The market doesn't decide who wins. It's the agents that decide if they're going to win. So the difference between those that are doing very well and everyone else are the decisions that they're making on a daily basis about their business. So that's what we're going to talk about today is what are those decisions that you should be making so that you can really thrive and succeed in 2026. So let's start with number one, and everybody write down lead generation. Lead generation. So I hear this all the time. I hear, oh my gosh, my pipeline is weak. The leads aren't there. Sydney, I need more leads. And here's what I would tell you. This isn't a lead problem because there are lots of buyers and sellers that are out there right now. Would you guys agree with that? There's a lot of people that want to buy and sell. So this is not a lead problem. This is a commitment problem on the part of the agents. So here's what I observe, and maybe this fits in with you guys. You'll choose a lead source, and let's just say it's I think for sale by owners is probably the best example. I see this a lot. Someone decides I'm going to do for sale by owners. So they start that process, they start calling for sale by owners, and if they don't get an immediate response, they quit. They quit that day, they quit that month, and they just never do it again. Now, everybody, show of hands, go down to your little emojis and say, heck yes, that applies to me. Because we're all guilty of that. So it could be for sale by owners, it could be expired listings, it could be I'm going to do open houses every single weekend. But the reality is, it is not a lead problem, it's your commitment to really mastering whatever that lead source is so that you can be an expert in it. So I was on the phone with one of my great agents just a few minutes ago, and he's starting a probate system. And he actually is texting me right now. He's starting a probate system. Uh, and I told him on the call today, don't expect to start calling probates and you get 10 listings the first month. It's going to take time. And I have example after example after example of this. If you decide that you're going to attack this, you've got to learn the skills that are necessary, put the system in place, and make the decision that you're going to do it and you're going to do it well. Most agents don't fail because lead generation doesn't work. They fail because they don't give it enough time to work. I'm going to do a little subtext of this that where I see this happening a lot too. Who on this call has been in coaching and out of coaching with us or with other companies a few times? Do I see a heck yeah? Everybody there, everyone's going, me, I did it. Because this is what we see in the business, guys. You come into coaching and you say, okay, I'm gonna coach, but I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna do it for 3 months. And you do it for 3 months and you don't get the success that you're looking for. And what happens is you quit. Do you actually think that you can master anything in 90 days? The answer is no, guys. You can't master anything in
Mike
90 days.
had, the
Go ahead, Steve. So the point being, if you want to get good at prospecting or anything else, the most important thing is you've got to make a commitment to it and you have to understand it takes more than a day, a week, a month, or 90 days to get good at it. So agents fail because they don't stick with anything long enough for them to be successful. All right, so the next topic that I wrote down is the number of conversations. And you can call it contacts, you can call it conversations, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But the reality is, most agents think that this is a lead business, that we need to collect leads. And leads are important, but you have to have real conversations first. So look at your CRM right now. How many leads do you think you have in your CRM today? How many leads? Now, this is what I hear, or I'll say, how big is your database? I've got 2,000 people that are in my CRM. Guys, guys and gals, that is not the name of the game. We're not in the habit of collecting names, telephone numbers, and email addresses. This is a conversation business. Everybody write this down. You get paid by the number of conversations that you have. And I would say you get paid by the number of real estate conversations that you have. So let's do the math and let's look at a real agent for a second. So I attracted an agent recently who thought that they were working really, really hard, really hard. And I said, so how many hours a day are you working? She said, oh my gosh, I'm working 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. So I asked this agent to track every single conversation that they had, a real conversation about real estate for 1 week. No emails, no
that's
texts.
it.
They disabled my video. You guys would put yourself on mute, please, unless you're going to ask a question. That would be really helpful. So, so I asked this agent to track the real conversations they had. No emails, no texts, real conversations. At the end of the week, we sat down, we analyzed it, and this agent was having three real estate conversations a day. Three. Now, this is where logic comes in. If you were having three real estate conversations a day, and so that would be, we'll just say you're working 5 days, 15 a week, real conversations, and that is 60 for the month. If they are high quality conversations, would that turn into either a listing taken or a buyer sale? If they're high quality conversations, they would. If you're having double that, doesn't it improve the probability that you're going to get a deal? Absolutely. But I want you guys to think about what you've done. Today is Thursday, the 5th. Write down how many real estate conversations you've had this week, and then do the math over the next 30 days. Does that number of conversations, will that translate into a sale? So if you don't have the number of listings taken and the number of listings sold and the number of buyers sold that you want, it it directly relates back to the number of conversations that you're having. So this isn't a pipeline problem. This isn't the who's in our uh, how many people are in our database. This is a math problem. So someone just asked me a question, does door knocking count? Yes. If you are door knocking and you are having real conversations, yes, it count. Yes, it counts. So let's see. Tom just said I'm confused contacts with DMs or texts. Great question, Tom. So here's Sydney's rule of thumb on this because we are we noticing that people do respond by text sometimes more than they do by phone? Everybody say yes because I mean I'm guilty of it as well. I'll have a conversation with someone over text, but I may not pick up the phone. So what I would say to all of you is a text counts. A text counts if they respond. But if you're just texting people all day long and no one is responding, that doesn't count. What's a conversation? A conversation is where I ask a question, they respond, they ask another question, I respond, and it's a two-way situation. So if we're having a real conversation via text, in person, or on the telephone, that counts. Now, for all of you people that are texting like crazy and it's not, we're never talking real estate and then nothing real estate comes along, you got to question the quality of the conversations that you're having. DMs, same thing. If I'm DMs, if I've sent someone a DM or we get into some sort of an interaction on social media, if they don't respond, it doesn't count. But the quality is the most important thing. What are the quality of the conversations? Let's see. So let's see. So someone just asked me, how many conversations do you have to have a day to get one listing presentation per week? Great question. So there's a lot of variables that are involved there. It depends on the source of the people that you're talking to. So if I'm calling expireds or contacting expireds and for sale by owners, the number of conversations that I have to have are much lower than if I'm doing a cold call. And so the quality of that lead will have a big impact. So here's what I would tell you. Track your numbers for the next 90 days, and you want to track the number of hours that you're calling, the number of people that you're talking to, those actual conversations, the number of appointments set, the number of appointments made, listing taken, and sales. And we can work through those numbers and find out what that number is for you. Now, you guys want a top producer tip here? The agents that are operating at a very high level, they've bought into this idea of having conversations so much that they're not even focused on how many conversations that they're having every day and every week. What they're focused on is how many appointments they're setting. So the agents that are operating at the very highest level, their goal isn't to talk to 10 people a day or 20 people a day or 50 people a day. Their goal is I need to set an appointment every day or whatever their goal says every, two a week, three a week, and they will have as many conversations as it takes for them to actually hit their goal. So the next question was, what's a good appointment book to gone on ratio? That's again, that's hard to say depending on what the type of source it is. If it's an expired, I should be going out on the majority of those appointments. If it's a for sale by owner, I should be going out on the majority of those appointments. I think the better question is when you are setting appointments, Are you asking the right questions so that you know that it's a qualified appointment? So when it comes to some of these numbers, the numbers may vary depending on your experience, how long you've been in the business. The numbers may vary, and will definitely vary depending on what type of source that is. So if you want to get into more about the numbers, call me and I can go over your numbers with you privately and we can look at that together. So again, this isn't a pipeline problem. This is the math. You've got to get into the math and figure out exactly what you need to do to have the success that you want. All right, third decision that you have to make has to do with lead follow-up. So lead follow-up, in my opinion, is one of the most difficult topics or concepts for an agent to grasp. And I'll give you an example of I had a coaching call yesterday with an agent who's working, he's trying to build his for sale by owner business. And we've just started. We're getting into the process, and I know he's been calling for sale by owners, but we haven't seen. We've gone on some appointments, but it's not at the level that I think it should be. So as part of our coaching, we were getting into the specifics of what's really going on, and what we determined was he had a lead follow-up problem because if you're not following up on a consistent basis, you're not going to set the appointments and get the listings. So in his mind, this particular agent, he was if the client said, "Oh, call for sale by owner, call me in 3 weeks," he would wait to call in 3 weeks. Guys, you can't wait to call 3 weeks on a for sale by owner. Lead follow up is about being there when they're ready, and you never know when they're ready. So you can't follow up too much. Your lead follow up should be systematic. It should happen every single week. And you should not be afraid to call someone and follow up on a previous conversation. So the reason that we don't follow up, number one, is we don't know what to say. And we don't think that they were really serious. It's Most agents don't lose deals because those leads weren't serious. They lose the deals because they disappeared too early. And maybe you've had this happen to you before. You call a lead and they told you to call in 2 months or in a month, and then when you follow up or you see an MLS that they listed with someone else. Who's had that happen before? Everybody should be going, yes, that's happened to me because it's happened to all of us. So what happened? It's because you didn't follow up properly. So when put it in your schedule, and it should happen for every day your lead follow-up should happen, be the very first thing that you do after you call, excuse me, call expireds or for sale by owners. Because we know the majority of your appointments are going to come from your lead follow-up. So it is as important as your original prospecting. As a matter of fact, your prospecting means nothing unless you have good lead follow-up. So you have to make the decision that you're going to build a strong process and that you're going to execute it every single day. Now, I'll give you guys a top producer tip that I give a lot of all of my coaching clients. When you're doing your lead follow-up, after that call, here's what I want you to ask yourself. Spend 15 seconds, and I want you to ask yourself, what's going on with this lead, and when should I follow up with them next? Do I call them in a week? Do I call them in 2 weeks? Do I call them in a day? Are they a lead anymore? Are they, do I think they're a lead and they're not a lead? So spend a few moments and really think through who is this lead? What are they trying to accomplish? How many times have I called them? How long have I been calling them? Have I ever gotten a response? Has their story changed? Did I think they were a lead in the first place and they actually ended up not being a lead? So it's important that you really analyze who these leads are and what do you do with them next, and then execute. And if you execute every week, every day, and every week, and make that decision, that's going to dramatically change your business. All right, number four, let's write down. We have to make the decision every day of how we are prioritizing the work that's ahead of us. I think all of us know that it's pretty easy in real estate to fill your day with work. Would you guys agree with that? Who's looked back at the end of the week and you felt exhausted? You felt like you were doing a lot, but you really didn't think that you got anything accomplished. I should see a lot of hands or a lot of people that are nodding their heads right now because it's a common issue in the real estate. Here's what I call it. I call that playing real estate. Who likes to play real estate? That we go in and we work on our transactions or we work on our CRM, or right now we're all working on our AI, right? We're looking for the perfect system that's going to fix our real estate business with AI. And AI is important, but it's this busy work that is stopping you from being productive. It's this busy work that is stopping us from being productive. So most of us know that the foundation of a solid real estate sales business is in our time management. I think we'd all agree with that. The most productive people in the business are excellent at time management. But time management isn't just your schedule. That's the schedule is part of your overall time management. Good time management are the decisions that you make throughout the week of how you're executing that schedule. Did you hear what I said? Great time management really is the decisions that you're making of how you're going to execute your schedule and the tasks that you need to complete during the week. What's holding a lot of us back is we are making the decision to get stuck in that busy work. We get stuck in that mode of reacting or doing things that we think are important at the time. Everybody write this down. Busy is the most dangerous word in real estate. Busy is the most dangerous word in real estate because busy feels productive while your business quietly dies. Busy feels productive while your business quietly dies. See, the more you're in busy work and you've made the decision that you're going to be busy, it's stopping you from growing your business and generating new business for the future. So, one of the decisions that you guys have to make today is how you're going to triage your week and do a better job at the decisions that you're making of how you're spending your day every single day. So if you look up at the end of the day or at the end of the week and you say, God, where did this week go? Where did this time go? That's the first sign that you're spending your time in the wrong areas. So busy is your enemy. Don't react, be proactive. Fifth decision that we have to make is the standards that we are maintaining in our business. So there's a quote that I wrote down that I come back to a lot that says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Do you guys hear that? For real estate, let's say it a different way. You don't rise to your goals, you operate at the level of your standards. So what are your standards? What are your standards for everything? So what's your standard for what time you're going to start work every day? What's your standard for the number of conversations you're going to have every day or the number of appointments that you're going to set that day or that week? What's your standard for how your listing packets look when you go out to your listing presentation? What's your standard for the amount the commission that you charge? What's your standard for how often you do lead follow-up? So if you're struggling and you don't have the amount of business that you want right now, what are those standards that you have set that are non-negotiable? Now, I'm for some of you, you're getting on the phone at 7 o'clock in the morning, and that's great. That's fantastic. For others of you, maybe you can't do that. But set a new standard. Maybe your standard is 9 o'clock. You're going to start calling your database. Don't set a standard that just because you heard that's someone else's standard. Talk to your coach and let's set some standards that are going to establish you a pattern and a routine that will help you develop this business that you say that you want. So again, it's the decision of how you're going to operate your business and what are those non-negotiable standards that you won't go below. And I'll say this, here's one standard we didn't mention, but what's your standard for the prices that you're listing property at right now? Some of you have some inventory that's been sitting for a while. So what's your standard before you take a listing? What's your standard for the type of buyer that you'll work? These are important things that you need to think about because it's not the business that's the issue. It's the decisions that you're making about what standards you won't go below. All right. Sixth decision. Let's talk about your environment. Who are you spending most of your work time with? Now, the business has changed a lot over the years, and back in the day when we all had brick and mortar, and we would go into the office, there were you really had to be careful about the people that you were hanging out with. I remember as I was growing my business and it started growing, and I was hanging out with a lot uh, of, of, of agents who did not agree with the way that I was doing my business. Mentally, it was keeping me down because I was actually only, they were holding me back. That environment was holding me back. Well, today it's different because uh, a lot of you are operating virtually. We never go into the office. We aren't around people the way that we used to be around. So, how are you producing an environment that is supporting what you say that you want to do? Are you in a mastermind group? Do you have an accountability partner? I mean, I applaud you guys for being on this call today because this is an environment where you can learn and you can be around people that want to grow their business and you're hearing ideas that are supporting the mindset and what you say that you want to do in your business. So, what are the decisions that you're making about what's going on around you? What podcasts are you listening to? What books are you reading? See, all of that is part of it. You have to put yourself in an environment that's going to help you grow. So that's one of the things that's great about coaching, and I hear this all the time, is that many agents, we are, as coaches, we are their lifeline. We're part of that environment that they're growing that's supporting their long-term growth. So have you made the decision that you're going to build an environment that supports success? Now, I would also say, I don't know if you can see my office. I have a really nice office. I office from home, and I have built an environment that makes me feel good. I surround myself with people that make me feel good, that I can talk about real estate, I can talk about concepts. So, you guys, most of you know Steve Powers. I talk to Steve Powers literally every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. So, why would I do that? Because that supports me. That supports what I want to do in my business, both as a coach and as a real estate professional. So I want you to think about what's the environment that you've set up for yourself. And is it helping you or is it hurting you? See, your environment is quietly shaping the results that you're getting. What's going on around you, you're soaking it in, and it is either moving you towards your goal or it's moving you away from your goal. All right, seventh decision. This is my favorite one. The seventh decision has to do with discomfort. Are you making the decision every day that you are taking on a degree of discomfort yourself so that you can grow? So let me explain. So when it comes to growing your business, are you stretching and are you doing things that may be a little bit uncomfortable so that you can achieve the goals that you say that you want to set, that you want to achieve? So are you stretching and trying a new prospecting technique? Are you learning a better listing presentation? Are you learning a better buyer presentation? So the bottom line is, guys, how are you stretching and taking on discomfort so that you can have what you say that you want? Because here's what we know. If you're not taking on some discomfort yourself, you won't grow. If you are sitting in that same place where you're happy and you won't do anything that's outside of your comfort zone, guess what happens? You stay exactly where you are. Now let's take this to a different level. Would all of you agree that there's parts of this real estate business that aren't very comfortable? Anybody agree that this is not all fun, is it? I mean, let's face it. Telling a seller that their house is worth less than what they think it is, that's not fun, is it? That's uncomfortable. That causes discomfort. Telling a seller that their house smells like their kitty cat. It's not very comfortable, is it? It's a hard conversation to have. Telling a seller that you need to get a price reduction. That's discomfort. Negotiating an offer. That's discomfort. The difficult conversations that you have are the ones that help you grow your business. The difficult conversations that you have are the ones that grow your business. As a matter of fact, write this down. Your income will increase at the same level as the number of tough conversations you have increase. So if you're not having some discomfort, being real with people and telling them the truth, you're not doing enough business. You can't make enough money. We get paid for the tough conversations. We get paid for the tough conversations. Last thought, and then I think Steve wants to. Uh, Steve, do you want to talk now, or you want to wait till I finish my last thought?
Sydney, first of all, I want to apologize for all the people that are joining late. Evidently, I forwarded a flyer today for wonderful Sydney's talk, and the information on the flyer had a different Zoom. So there's a bunch of people joining you 32 minutes into this call. So for everybody that didn't get to hear Sydney for the first 30 minutes, I will make sure you get a copy of all this, and then you can call me or Sydney to discuss any issues. We apologize profusely. Mistakes happen. When we're both replaced in AI, you won't have to pay us. But today we made a mistake and we're just human. So I apologize, Sydney. You're getting more and more people on as the call
I
goes.
saw that. I was going, golly, they
And
must
it's
have.
totally my fault. I take
I was
100%
thinking, that everybody just got out of church or something, and they all started joining. Okay, last thought.
responsibility. That was it, Sydney. Please continue.
Thank you. Uh, so last thought. The last decision that you have to make that's going to dramatically improve your business is about what you're thinking about what is your perspective about the real estate business. Uh, do you wake up every day and you are excited about what's happening in the market? Are you excited about the challenges that you're going to face that day? Are you excited to go take that listing or go show property or negotiate that offer? Are you excited about negotiating repairs or low appraisals? Or do you wake up and you're like, oh my God, this business, oh my God, it's so stressful. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm 20, 365 days a year. I wake up and I'm super excited, but I will tell you that probably 340 days a year, I wake up and I'm super excited. And the other 20 is because maybe I'm on vacation or maybe I'm sick. But the real key to this is the way that we think about the business. Because it's not the market, it's how you are thinking about the market. See, I see nothing but opportunity, and I'm so grateful for this business that we're in. In most of our markets, we're in a very, very normal market. Some are a little bit more on the buy side, buyer has the leverage, but overall, in most markets, we're in kind of a balanced market, and I'm grateful for it. You know why? Not every house is going to sell, and that's okay because that means there's more expireds. Uh, Not every deal is going to come together, and that's okay too, because that's just part of the business. Uh, Buyers aren't competing with 50 other offers, so it's easier for them to find a home to purchase. Sellers see the value in who we are as real estate agents because it's not so easy to sell their home. So, as some people are saying, oh my God, this market is just killing me. This is a terrible market. What I would say to you is it's all about your perspective. It's how you're thinking about it. Because the market doesn't control your success, it doesn't control what you do. It's the way you think about it. So, in closing, I want to say this. This is not a complicated business. This is actually a pretty simple business. We're in the business of people, we're in the business of conversations. So as we look at what I talked about today, what I want you guys to think about is how you are controlling what's happening to you. You're controlling your success, you're controlling your happiness, you're controlling your financial wealth, you're controlling your time. You are in control. So if you'll take some of these concepts and think about what are the decisions that you're making on a daily basis, and how do you make better decisions? If you'll take that one simple concept and look at these 8 topics that we discussed today, and make some changes, because you control what's going to happen for the remainder of 2026. So, any questions before we sign off today? No questions? So here's what I would say. If you guys want to talk more about this, you want to talk more about the numbers, you want to talk about some new lead generation techniques, what's working best, you want to talk about how to get this part where it needs to be, give me a call. As a matter of fact, let me give you guys my cell phone number. It's 501-837-6199. Again, it's 501-837-6199. call me, text me. Uh, I'd love to talk with you about your business and let us help you make the right decisions so that you can be successful in 2026 and have everything that you say that you want.
Cindy,
Yes.
put a question in the chat. I don't know if you can see it or not. My name's Paul.
Hey,
Hello.
Paul,
Hi.
how can I help?
I just put the question in the chat. It's kind of long, but I can go ahead and say it out loud if you'd like.
Okay, please.
Basically, I hear this often from these seminars, and thanks for your time and information. I always find it helpful and interesting to see what coaches have to say. The big problem I have is this. Make appointments, set an appointment once a day, once a week, twice a week. That is, I'm not going to say impossible because I know you guys are going to say, of course it's possible, but here's the parameters I am dealing with. And I never get a straight answer how to correctly address this.
Mhm.
That is, in my market, expired and FISBOs are not common. They're around, but they're very rare. Probate attorneys are inundated with other agents who want a
Mhm.
30% referral fee, not a great lead gen source. Most importantly, most of my contacts, and I have several, they are sitting happy and secure in their home. They're not going anywhere. Now, some are, death, divorce, the normal reasons, but
Mhm.
most have an interest rate 2.5 to 3%. They're in a beautiful home. They're not going anywhere. So with parameters like that, when I hear just set appointments daily or weekly, it's virtually impossible. And I'd love to hear who am I supposed to be setting these appointments with? Because they make it sound like it's so simple. Just set appointments. You can't sell people on selling their home. It's some,
1,000%, Paul. And thank you for sharing that because you just described 90% of the markets in the United States today. So
Mhm.
that's literally every market. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few exceptions, but that is almost every market. So here's, uh, I'll try to give you the shortest answer to a very complicated situation. So our house is selling in your market today.
Yes. And I have
Okay.
multiple listings coming up. So I'm very
Okay.
happy, but I'm always thinking ahead. Like you said, busyness is the death of your business. So even
Right.
if I'm busy with listings, I'm thinking 3 months down the road.
Okay. So if expireds are not available and for sale by owners are not available, and then you look at kind of the different types of lead sources and every probates, you feel like that's flooded. What I would say about uh, expired for sale by owners and probates, someone is listing for sale by owners if there are any, and some people are listing probates. That's a decision that you made that you don't want to work that because you don't want to pay a referral fee. No problem. There's always door knocking. Absolutely, you could door knock, and there's no laws against that. There's no do not call list. There's your database. There's ways to grow your database and to get more business out of your database because you're right. You can't talk people into moving. That's
Mhm.
not what prospecting is, by the way, guys. Prospecting or lead gen is not about some magic thing that we say that gets them to want to list their home. It's about having enough conversations so that you find the people that actually want to sell their home. So you're right. There are fewer people because of the low interest rates. That means that you have to have more conversations. And everybody around you that owns a home, that is a potential possibility. And so it's not, we don't have to like pigeonhole ourselves into saying, well, what's this lead source or what's that lead source? People are there's tons of them, but there's thousands of people that are out there, thousands of homes. Go and talk to homeowners. So where do you find homeowners? I've got a gal, and I don't think she's on the call right now. I've got a client that she's probably going to do 30 deals this year from geofarming, guys. From geofarming. And you know how she does it? She goes and talks to people in the neighborhood. She does different things. She'll do a a ladies' night. She's I mean she's done does a thing for during the summer at the community pool. Now that might not be your thing, and because everybody's different. Everybody has their own way that they want to connect with people, but this is about connecting with people. So where can you connect with people and talk to them about real estate? And it doesn't happen overnight, but you have to put systems in place where you are talking to people on a consistent basis so that pipeline gets full. And I know that I'm not trying to evade the question, but that is the real answer. The answer is it's about talking to people. So where are the people in your marketplace? But good question. Thank you. Any other questions? What are your other questions? In closing, I just want to say this, guys. It's every day, think about the things that you're doing every day, every minute, every hour, and hear my voice. Is this decision that I'm making right now, at this very moment, is it helping me? Is it taking me towards my goal? Or is this decision either keeping me where I am or moving me away from my goal? And it's a constant thing you have to be asking yourself. So if I'm coaching you and people say, well, I'm not making an excuse, but this is what happened to me. What my answer always is, it's not an excuse. It was a decision. You made that decision, and that's okay. But would you make that decision again? Just a thought. Steve, you want to say anything else in closing?
Oh my gosh, it would be so understated compared to the information you passed along. So I don't want to bring it down by saying something stupid. So I'm going to leave it on your high note because I thought you were perfect. You know, with Paul saying it's hard to find people that, they don't want to sell because they have a 3%. Yeah, who wants to sell at a three? Except they bought the house at 2.7 and they have $500,000 worth of equity. So they can move to their dream home and their next loan is much smaller. So even though the interest rate's higher, the payment's the same. The average person moves in Westlake Village about every 14 years. Every 14th person you meet is going to sell this year, Paul. Go talk to
I
14 people.
I also saw a stat this week that said 46% of mortgages out there today are above 4.5%. So again, that's something that we think about. Everybody's got an interest rate of 3%. Not everybody does. There's a lot that don't. So it's just how we look at it. All right. So I've kept you guys for 49 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you have any questions, reach out. You guys are awesome, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Sydney.
Thank you, Sydney.
Mhm.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye.